Hey guys, I just want to stop in real quick today with a little suggested homework project. But first of all, kudos and congratulations to all of you who have been really actively participating in that Facebook page that we have. Remember, participation and implementation are going to be what drives your success in this program. It's not enough to watch the videos and kind of follow along. This is stuff that you have to put into action. You have to be a player. You have to get on the field and play. Remember, I challenged you to do that right up front in the very first video when we started this off. I asked you to really bring a badass attitude to this thing and be ready to be a player. You're going to be a starter. You're going to be in the game, and you have to put yourself there. So that's a little bit about what I want to talk about today. We've done about 7 sessions now, and we've covered a lot of material. We've covered a lot of action items, and I've asked you to really get active on a lot of things. What I want you to do now is to take a step back, open up your journal, and we're going to do a little self-evaluation. We have to always make sure that we're self-evaluating, that we're making the adjustments that we have to make, and then revising our plan to make sure that we're staying on track with what we're committing to do. Remember those KPIs that I asked you to pull together, your own key performance indicators. I'm going to ask you to take a look at those again. I'm going to ask you to take a look at how you've been implementing the daily disciplines. In fact, what I want you to do is give yourself a little sort of first quarter evaluation and get detailed about it. Remember, this is your journal. You're not necessarily going to hand it in. I'd love to hear people sharing where they're at with some of this stuff on the page, but more importantly, it's your self-evaluation. You got to get used to doing this. You should be doing this weekly. You should sit down and doing it in more detail, every few weeks or every month. At least weekly, you should be counting up those key performance indicators. Remember, we asked you to create them as things that are countable. One of the ones that I mentioned in the video that I'm always looking at is diamond level cycles across my business centers. That's a number that I can track every week, and I do. You can't get too much out of a single week, so you also want to make sure you're looking in monthly on all of your own key performance indicators, so you can look at the trends. Are the numbers good and steady and going in a direction that's going to get you to your goal? Are your numbers kind of going up and down, and do you need to take a look at which activities you're doing or that you actually got done on a particular week and see how that correlates to how those indicators are moving? It's all going to be individual, of course, and it's all going to be different for all of us, and it's all going to be different in different weeks and different months. The key is you got to do the evaluation, okay? So here's the homework. Here's the suggested homework assignment. Dig into your journal, and like I said, don't be stingy with this. Give yourself some time and, write a couple pages, a few pages, whatever you're willing to dig into. But I'm telling you, the deeper you dig in, the better it's going to be for you. And I'm going to ask you to do that with everything we've covered so far. So of course, take a look at your KPIs and all of that, but go back and look. Hopefully you've been taking notes along the way. And if you haven't, then, well, maybe that's one of the things in your self-evaluation that you want to commit to doing in the next quarter of this journey together, because you want to be capturing this stuff and you want to be able to return to it, self-evaluate, make the adjustments, and then get back in the game. When you watch a professional sports game, it's halftime adjustments that most of the time make the difference to creating champions or mediocrity. And we want to create championship businesses here for all of you. So here's the assignment. Go in, take a look at all of the things that we've covered so far, and you can just go ahead and run down the list of the videos and just look at the titles, and hopefully that's going to be enough to bring back and connect with your own notes and what you've been doing with this stuff for you to be able to implement or evaluate your own implementation of all of this up to this point. So how are you doing with your daily disciplines? How are you doing with your scheduling? How are you doing with your KPIs? Did any of that stuff that we talked about with the belief driving connection make sense to you? What are the couple of nuggets that you've been able to pull out of each of the sessions that you're actually implementing and running with, because that's the key here. We're trying to get you to get at least a couple of few handful of nuggets out of each session that you can implement into your own business to drive yourself forward. So ask yourself, what has come out of it so far? What's it been so far, and what do you have going? So sort of give yourself a grade for each one of the sessions that we've covered so far. How's your inviting going? How did that finding stuff sound to you? What's your 10 in play doing? You know, has it been sitting on your desk since the first week that we talked about it, or is it an active, fluid, dynamic part of your business as we intended it to be when we first shared it? Okay, so I think you get the picture. Time to jump into your journal, time to dig into your own business, do a little self-evaluation so that we can tweak what we need to tweak, talk about what we need to talk about, and make sure that we're continuing to do this on purpose. Remember, that's the goal here. We don't want to just wander around, and we don't want to just be, you know, doing this with blindfolds on, trying to hope that we're going to find success. You don't find success that way. You find success when you create a very clear target, and then you put together a very clear, precise, and effective action-oriented plan to drive you there. And that's what we're trying to do here. That's really what we're trying to hand off to you. You know, if you were to ask me to boil this whole thing down, what's this Bearcat Training Camp all about? It's about trying to learn how to treat your business like a business, trying to make sure that we're catching certain strategies and techniques and philosophies and concepts that are the things that really drive success in this business and are the glue that hold all those other details together. You know, all the details about how we're running our challenge groups and how we're finding and connecting and all of those things that we're talking about. But there's a framework here, there's a skeleton, there's a structure, and that's what we've been covering up to this point, giving you that backbone. So, love to hear how everybody's doing out there, but most importantly, do it for yourself. Dig into your journal. Let's take some time to do a little self-evaluating. Good luck, everybody. And cheers, kudos for getting this far and still continuing on. We've got some great stuff coming up, so stick with us.